This is Common Courtesy, a conversation on modern society from an LGBTQ plus perspective. A talk show for working LGBTQ plus individuals and allies who are active in their own communities and who also wish to stay woke about what's happening in today's world. With your host, Sean Nicholas. If he's creating like a separate night for, trans performers, is that not inclusive? Or Nikki Prue.
The positive, good vibes coming off of you in this whole topic it makes me very happy.
Angelique Young.
That everybody was kind of in a good spirit, and then they heard that the owner was coming and the alignment went differently.
I had a crush on my best friend in school. I flirted with him.
Allegedly. From the stories that I heard.
The weak ass joke. And
Hold on.
So, let's start the conversation. This is an opinion-based show, not a news outlet. The views and opinions of the guests on Common Courtesy TV solely reflect their opinion and or experience, and not of Common Courtesy TV or any of its affiliates or hosts. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Common Courtesy TV, a conversation on modern society from an LGBTQ plus perspective. I am your host and moderator, actor and sobriety activist, Sean Nicholas. I'm here with my awesome co-host, entrepreneur, and original co-host of Common Courtesy TV. We have Nikki Prue. Nikki, how are you this week?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm really good. And you know what? This week, when this episode comes out on Wednesday, is the first day of Pride this year. And we're going to be talking to Susan Gore, who is the board president of the LGBTQ Plus Resource Center in Gulfport, because there's Gulfport Pride this weekend, Saturday, June the 3rd, starting at 10 a.m. So I'm going to be there doing some interviews. And I'm just excited for Pride. I'm excited for this. I really am excited. So, without further ado, well, first, Nikki, I just kind of want to, before we get to Susan and asking her about what the LGBTQ Plus Resource Center is and what they will be doing for Gulfport Pride, and a little bit about Susan's background, I want to ask you about what's been going on with you and how was your weekend?
Well, I actually got to have a 3-day weekend this week, which was lovely. Doesn't happen very often anymore. So I kind of took advantage of that and got to do something a little bit fun was it Sunday? On Sunday night. Shall we tell them where we went and who we
Yeah,
saw?
absolutely.
We got to see tonight, she's not here, but our regular other co-host, Angelique. I always say her last name wrong. I just call is it Angelique Young? I feel like I always say too much or too little.
Angelique Young Cavalier.
I'm
Yeah.
saying it right. Sorry, Angelique. I'm always afraid to butcher names. I didn't know if it had a fancy like French pronunciation to it. But anyway,
No,
she
yeah,
was
it's
so phenomenal. I still can't believe I've never seen her perform live before. And I'm so glad that you invited me
absolutely.
because
Yeah, because Angelique, so if everyone doesn't know, Angelique does her her Sunday, Sickening Sunday shows at Show Bar in Ybor. So we got a chance to go see her. And it was a wonderful show. She killed it. And here's a little clip right before we talk about
I was
Susan.
just going to ask if we had a clip. Yay.
Okay, so that was a little bit of us at the Sickening Sunday shows at Show Bar and Ebor's, visiting our friend and co-host Angelique Young Cavalier. She killed it. But like I said, This is the first week of Pride, and Gulfport Pride kicks off our Pride celebration this month, this Saturday at 10 a.m. And here to talk with us a little bit about that, we have Susan Gore, who is the president of the LGBT Plus Resource Center. Please welcome to the panel, Susan Gore.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hi, Susan. How are you this week?
Doing great. Excited about all the things we're going to be doing.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Susan, you have a plethora of history of being an activist for the community. Can you tell us a little bit about that and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure. I once had to convince my mother I wasn't a job hopper. I had to tell her I was a Renaissance woman because I've done so many different things. It did not help, but that's what I've done. I've done everything. I've been in corporate, I've been in consulting. I started out as a college professor. I've painted houses. So a little of all of it.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
You're well
And you
rounded.
say you describe, absolutely. So you say you describe yourself as a learning junkie. Your goal is to make new and interesting mistakes rather than repeat the old ones again and again.
I keep trying.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I've lived in many places. I've lived in most major cities and overseas for a year, just because I love learning about new cultures and new people. I just came back from Norway. I was 10 days in Oslo and Larvik and Christensen, where the people are all tall and blonde. And lovely.
That's amazing.
And lovely. But
that's amazing.
I loved it because there are a group of people I used to work with. I did intercultural communication and since 2009, and we meet once a year somewhere in the world. So last year it was Malta, this year it's Norway, next year it's Brazil. And we get to learn about the culture and eat strange food and have a great time.
That's
and get
amazing.
to see your friends that you otherwise wouldn't get to see that
That's
often.
it.
That is phenomenal. I love that.
It is, well, one of the joys
That
of
makes me
being
happy.
retired. I can spend my time.
Hey, good for you. Yes, that's what I like to see.
Yeah,
Now's the time to do all those things. I love that.
So let's get into this because you're the president, you're a volunteer board president of the LGBTQ Plus Resource Center. Can you tell us a little bit about the Resource Center and what's their mission?
Absolutely. The Resource Center started with 250 books in 2015. And in 2019, we became a nonprofit, IRS certified. Our mission is to promote awareness of the rich diversity of experiences, needs, and contributions of people who are queer, LGBTQ+. And we do it with programs, we do it with books, we do it with drag shows like this Thursday coming up.
Oh, we're gonna get into that, Nikki. So we're gonna ask you a little bit about Pride a little bit, and then we're gonna ask you about this drag show that's coming up this Thursday. Nikki's, let's go to you.
So Gulfport Pride, obviously I know you said you're getting really excited. I'll gear it up for that. Can you tell us a little bit about like how much is the Resource Center involved in Pride? Is it, how much do you really get involved and like plan events around it to get people to, get your kind of little foot into Pride and like leave your mark on it while also gaining knowledge about the Resource Center and its existence through, such a large crowd?
Well, this is the third year Gulfport has had an official Pride event, and the Resource Center has been involved since the get-go. What happens is they close down downtown Gulfport, which consists of two streets. There's Beach Boulevard and there's Shore Boulevard, and they shut them down. Vendors set up booths all up and down beach, and people have the opportunity to see organizations and get information about organizations, buy stuff. There is a food, there's entertainment, and we have 2 entertainment stages. So it's a great event. It's 10
That's great. I mean,
all day.
What better place for a Resource Center?
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Yeah. That's great. So it seems like, you have a pretty big footprint in that, which I think is great because what better than a safe haven of all this knowledge and, essentially help emotionally, mentally. That's I love that. I'm really excited. I definitely want to check this out this weekend.
Come play.
Wait, what is today?
We're very,
This Saturday,
yeah,
right?
we're a town of 12,000 people. And it's,
I love Gulfport. I don't get there like super often, but my boyfriend and I love it.
yeah,
Even if we just take a drive through, we'll like drive, park, walk around.
yeah.
It's so like quaint and beautiful. I
And
love it. That's
it's
awesome.
estimated that it's 30% gay. So we have a
Even
large
better.
population of folks that come to Pride, and our allies and our parents and our friends all just bring their dogs, bring their kids, walk up and down Beach Boulevard and have a great time. We've got great entertainment. Hot Tonic is a jazz fusion group that's going to play. All sorts of entertainment.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
that is, that definitely sounds like a lot of fun. It sounds like just a lot of love and positivity packed into a small
yeah.
space, and we all need more of that
That's the
for
message.
sure.
In fact, we have T-shirts we've had printed for Pride, and it says on the front, "Just say no to hate," and on the back it says, "Say yes to love, compassion, integrity, honesty," and the list goes all the way down the shirt because
Well, I
that's
want
what
one of
we're
those
about.
shirts now. So
Come on by.
and I love that. That's, I just, all the happy, positive, good vibes coming off of you in this whole topic is just, it makes me very happy. So that being said, though, I do have to
Sure.
ask, not to doom and gloom it, but as far as planning your events go and you're planning everything, how has the extremist rhetoric that's present so much, this year more, probably more than the last 2 years that you've done it, how's that affected things? Has it put up more roadblocks or, banned you from doing certain things that you would have done in the past?
We're very fortunate in Gulfport. We have a city council, a city manager, a mayor that all support us. We have shifted a little bit. So in February, we have an event called ReadOUT, and it's a festival of queer literature. And this year we had 750 people as a hybrid event, so online and live at the library. And for the first time, we
That is
brought in a
awesome.
police presence. And it's a two-sided message. People are scared. There have been 500 bills introduced that are anti-gay across the country since the beginning of this year. Um, and Florida, is doing its part. But we want people to feel safe. So we had an officer at the library. There weren't any incidents, but people felt better knowing there was somebody there. And the other side of the message
Yep.
is to say to somebody who's going to come to try to cause trouble, we have a cop. You don't want to do that. And so that's the same. We'll do that with the
Yep.
drag show as well. We'll have a police presence. We'll be checking IDs because the laws have changed so that if we were to allow somebody under 18 to come into the show, we could get in very serious trouble. And we don't want to be in trouble. We
Yeah.
don't want to cause trouble.
Of course
Drag
not.
show's going to be
No, because you're
fun.
not doing anything that invites
Exactly.
trouble at all.
And it's a
So I think
celebration.
that exactly, you
So
want to keep
you were
that
saying
celebratory air.
just to keep it like so you're talking about a drag show. Are you talking about so you had police presence at the earlier event at ReadOUT. Are you also going to have police presence for Gulfport Pride? And let's talk a little. Are you going to have police presence for Gulfport Pride as
Absolutely.
well,
Yeah.
so we feel safe?
Oh, yeah.
And then so we're talking about also as well. You mentioned in our meeting earlier that there's an event that you're having this Thursday, this week, right before Gulfport Pride, a benefit that is benefiting the LGBTQ plus Resource Center. Can you talk a little bit about that show?
Yeah, well, let me start with the flag raising at 6 o'clock on Thursday. The city of Gulfport raises the pride flag at the library, and then people can go into the library to see the art show, ArtOUT. It's queer art. And then after that, you can go to the Catherine Hickman Theater if you have a ticket, because the show is almost sold out. We have 10 tickets at $100 each. That's all that's left.
So this is the drag show that is. So can
Oh
you tell us
yeah.
about it? Like, what is the drag show called? Who's
It's
in
a
it?
night of drag at the Hickman. The organizers are Mr. and Mrs. Grip, Greta Grip, and her husband, Mr. Grip. Mr. Grip is Edson Abadia, and he's a lawyer. He graduated from Stetson, And his boyfriend is a yoga teacher and a gymnast. And Michael they're both fabulous. It will be singing, it will be movement, it will be audience participation. And after the show, we're going to have a talk back. So if anybody has questions about drag or the show or what's going on with the laws, we will have time for people to get educated, because that's what the Resource Center does. We celebrate, we educate.
And that's this Thursday at the Hickman Theater in
That's
Gulfport. At what time again?
The show starts at 7:30, doors open at 7. But like I said, go to Eventbrite because there are only 10 tickets left.
Awesome, awesome. And then so I also wanted to ask you, you know, for Pride this Saturday for Gulfport, is there anything, because you mentioned there's two stages, and because of the laws, the drag queens aren't going to be on the stage, but they're going to be separate drag shows. So let's talk about like what to look out for on Saturday, like on the stages during the parade, that the public one. You said there was some bands playing.
There are bands playing. There are people performing solo at both ends of Beach Boulevard. And we will have a parade with everybody marching along behind Council Member Paul Ray, who is an openly gay council member here in Gulfport.
Amazing, amazing. So let me go to Nikki. Oh wait, and there's also some drag shows after at the after party, because we can't have drag shows like we used to on like a main stage, like if we've seen Gulfport Pride before, or even St. Pete Pride. Where are those going to be?
There are two after parties. One is at Zippers, which is the new bar that has just reopened on 22nd, and we know Sean will be there. And the other party will be at Alphabet Soup, which is sort of behind Zippers. Alphabet Soup usually operates as a private club, but it's opening the doors to everybody who wants to come in that night, so you can see drag at both places.
I just love the name.
Alphabet Soup.
Like, I want to go to a club called Alphabet Soup and be like, well, usually you can't get in.
That's right.
I love that so much.
It's fun. It's gonna be great fun. Both parties.
Sounds cool. Like so much fun. It really does.
So let's get into a little bit about what the Resource Center does all year, because you know a lot of people have questions about let's say like Tampa Bay Pride has been on a fire for a lot of things, but sometimes we don't really look at what these organizations do all year. And I love the fact that you guys have educational events to talk about things and a talk back. I really wish I can make that Thursday because I have to work at Zippers. But we were going to ask about some of the programs. I was going to give that to Nikki.
But you mentioned earlier a couple of programs that the Resource Center has been running. ReadOUT, ArtOUT, BranchOUT. Am I missing one?
We have a newsletter called ShoutOUT, and there's SpeakOut, which was
SpeakOut
was a series of dialogues. But let me just say, here's what's really interesting to me. And I'm an organization junkie. So we were a sleepy little small town library committee, and we had ReadOUT, for example, was the last live event at the library, March of 2020, before COVID shut everything down. 145 people, 15 authors. We were ecstatic. It was a great success.
And ReadOUT basically is showcasing the authors and publishers, queer literature.
There were workshops, and you know, it was a great thing. So COVID happens. None of us are technological whizzes, but we said, we're all feeling so isolated. Could we do something online? And we took ReadOUT onto Zoom, and we had 1,000 people from 22 countries and 101 authors. As a result of COVID, we never would have done that. And then last year, this February, we did the same thing. We had the same number of people from all over the world, and we had hybrid authors on site again, so they could hear readings and they could see each other, because you just can't substitute. And it was fabulous.
No, but just let's talk about something positive coming from something negative. You know, I think that's so great that you all cared enough to think to do that. And it's very obvious that it reached and probably helped a lot more people than you even
And
realize. I love that, finding positivity in the darkness of a terrible situation. And it always just lifts my heart a little bit to hear people doing things like that. So I think that's so awesome.
We're a very resilient bunch, not just the Resource Center, but queers.
That's
We
what
are
it
out
is.
there because we understand that family and community is important. Same thing happened with ArtOUT. For example, ArtOUT was a library event, and when COVID hit, we went from being a library event to 55 art pieces, 35 artists, 8 countries. And now it's a juried exhibit. And the exhibit this year is going to be hybrid. So we have the exhibit at the library, we have the exhibit online, and the James Museum, downtown St. Pete, is hosting a reception, and the winning art pieces are going to be showing at the James Museum all through June. And that's a big deal. I mean, we're just
That's a big deal.
I mean, Gulfport is the like queer little neighbor to St. Pete that nobody knows about. And that's not so bad because we love it here. We don't need to have too many people know we're here, but it's a great community.
And you know what? Let's take a small little break, and we're going to hear more about Susan and Gulfport Pride in just a moment. We'll be right back.
Hey everybody, it's Dave with Tampa Bay Gay. We're visiting our friends at the Paperback Exchange bookstore in Newport Richey. I'm going to exchange some books while you check out this week's LGBTQ+ events. Grab your friends and your balls. It's time for Pride Bowling at Dunedin Lanes, Thursday, June 1st, starting at 10. $10 gets you unlimited bowling, then a midnight drag show featuring Jocelyn Summers and guest Amanda DeRod and Esme Russell. We'll see you on the lanes. June is Pride Month, so let's get out and celebrate. First, St. Pete Pride kicks things off with a block party on June 2nd on Central Avenue in St. Pete starting at 7. Also, tickets are on sale now for Shades of Pride, Queerioke, the Friday night concert, and more. And speaking of the Friday night concert, we are giving away 2 pairs of tickets for the concert featuring Idina Menzel at Janice Live on June 23rd. To enter, just visit the link below. On June 3rd, bring a little pride to Pasco. Pride at Pickled starts at 1 p.m. Stop by the shop for an inclusive t-shirt, lots of Pride merchandise, even a make-and-take rainbow suncatcher with the proceeds benefiting the Trevor Project. Come show some pride and support our local small businesses. And save the date, Monday, June 19th. Get tickets now for Rainbow Recreation's Uncorking Diversity, a wine tasting celebration. This event celebrates the diversity of our community, focusing on minority-owned winemakers. There's also some amazing talent scheduled, so come celebrate diversity and a great cause. As you can see, the selection is incredible. You got to get down here and check it out. Thanks for watching. We'll see everybody next week. Visit TampaBayGay.com for the latest local events, digital content, and more. Also, please like, share, and subscribe.
Susan, thank you so much for just, sharing some of the amazing things that you and the Resource Center do as far as like the Gulfport community in general, but like just for Pride, thank you. I think it's amazing. And I think a lot of people are going to want more info, and, you're probably going to like up those numbers even more after this. So can you tell us and the listeners where we can find more information regarding Pride events or any other upcoming events you might have at the Resource Center?
Sure. And listen, thank you for the opportunity to talk about the Resource Center and about Pride, because it is great fun and it's going to be a good year. So for Pride, you can go to gulfportpride.com, or you can just Google Gulfport Pride. Google knows everything. You can do the same thing with the Resource Center, but you could also go to mygulfport.us/LGBTQ-resources. So there.
Pretty
Okay.
straightforward. That makes it easy.
Alrighty, guys. And thank you again, Susan, for being here. And thank you for giving us all information. And we learned a lot today, especially, knowing there are organizations out there that are educating not only the community, but our allies as well. I wanted to thank Susan for being here. Thank you so much. And everybody, please catch Gulfport Pride this weekend, Saturday, June 3rd. Starting in Gulfport at 10 a.m. The parade starts at 2 p.m. There's after parties at Alphabet Soup and Zippers starting at 8 p.m. But first, there's also a benefit drag show at the Hickman Theater. You can find more information about that at the website you just mentioned. This is Thursday, starting, I believe, help me, Susan, at 7:30.
Doors open at 7, shows at 7:30. Go to Eventbrite and Google or search for A Night of Drag at the Hickman.
And that show is being put on by a good friend of mine, Greta Grip. We used to perform together when I was in my drag days.
I love
Greta, break a leg. It's a small community, right? Greta, break a leg, and Mr. Grip. I can't wait to see what you guys are going to be doing, and I'll see you guys later at Zippers for the after party for that. That is this week's episode, guys. Please, I will see you guys this Saturday doing some on-the-street interviews at Gulfport Pride. And before I see you guys next week, please, everyone, have a little bit more common courtesy, because courtesy isn't so common. We'll see you next week.